Gabriel Jesus is back.
There's a slips, scuffed by Timber, finished by Gabriel Jesus.
For 11 months, Gabriel Jesus lived football's longest nightmare. An ACL injury, endless rehab, questions about explosiveness, confidence, and whether the player Arsenal once built their attack around would ever truly return. Now look at what's happening.
I always dreamed to be a footballer. Like I said before, I watch a lot Serie A. To be here in this stadium, to score here is tears on my eyes.
Since December, Jesus has quietly re-entered the season, and with limited minutes, he's already changing Arsenal's trajectory. One Premier League goal in just 149 league minutes. A Champions League brace on his first major European start-back. 3 goals, 1 assist, 415 minutes across competitions, but the numbers only tell part of the story. Because this isn't just about scoring. It's about how Arsenal's attack looks different when he plays. The pressing sharpens, the connections tighten, wide players find space again, defenses stop stepping out so comfortably. And suddenly, Mikel Arteta has something he's been missing all season. A forward who links, disrupts, and finishes under pressure. From the frustration of injury to the emotion of scoring in Europe, to a growing selection dilemma that's reshaping Arsenal's front line. This is not a comeback built on hype. It's built on impact.
I liked everything to be fair. First of all, again, his desire, the energy that he brings, and predictability that he brings. He's a 9, so he needs to put the ball in the back of the net.
This is why Gabriel Jesus may be the most important attacking return Arsenal have made all season, and why his story is only just beginning. When people talk about players coming back from injury, they make it sound simple, like you just count down the days, step back on the pitch, and everything goes back to normal. For Gabriel Jesus, it wasn't like that at all. The story starts with a moment Arsenal knew was serious immediately. In the FA Cup defeat to Manchester United in January 2025, Arsenal confirmed Jesus had suffered an anterior cruciate ligament injury in his left knee, and that surgery would follow quickly. The club's statement was clinical, but the implication was brutal. The season was gone, and the next one would be shaped by uncertainty. An ACL isn't just time out. It's the injury that tests every part of a forward's identity. Sharp changes of direction, explosive first steps, balance under contact, confidence when planting your foot, and turning at full pace. For a striker who built his Arsenal value on intensity and chaos, pressing, counter-pressing, hunting loose balls, attacking the near-post zone, this is the kind of setback that doesn't simply remove minutes from your season. It removes certainty from your career. And that uncertainty is where this story really begins. When Jesus finally returned, he didn't frame it as "I'm back." He framed it as survival. After Arsenal's 3-0 Champions League win at Club Brugge on December 10th, 2025, where he came on in the second half to make his first competitive appearance in almost a year, he spoke about what the period had felt like. 11 months of doubting yourself. That phrasing matters because it tells you the injury didn't only attack his body. It attacked his confidence, his identity as a footballer, everything he thought he knew about himself. Arsenal's own coverage around his return leaned into that same emotional reality, the smile of being back, the feeling. Importantly, he was clear about the internal fear that sits behind long rehab periods, the fear you come back different, with limitations you can't hide at this level. So the correct framing here isn't "he recovered," it's this: he had to rebuild trust in his body, and Arsenal had to rebuild trust in the player. Here's what makes this comeback credible. Arsenal didn't treat him like a fairy tale return. They treated him like an elite asset being carefully ramped back into match stress. The first match back at Club Brugge was controlled, a second-half cameo in a comfortable Champions League win, a sensible environment, low panic, a chance to feel the contact, the tempo, the distances without everything riding on his shoulders. Then came the next phase, short Premier League substitute appearances, not starts, not go lead the line for 90 minutes, but repeat exposures, pressure in waves, so rhythm could return without overloading him physically or mentally. That matters because it tells you how Arsenal viewed Jesus in 2025/26. Not as nostalgia, not as a name from the past, but as a weapon they wanted available in the decisive months of the season, and the numbers confirm that this is still a managed return. In the Premier League this season, he's made 7 substitute appearances totaling 149 minutes with 1 goal. Across all competitions, that's 12 appearances, 3 goals, 1 assist, and 415 minutes. This isn't the output of a player who's been given the keys to the season. This is the output of a player being phased back into it and still making noise. The temptation with any comeback story is to chase big totals, massive goal hauls, eye-popping statistics. But in Jesus' case, the stronger argument is efficiency and influence. He doesn't have to dominate minutes to change games. Look at what Arsenal's competition data shows for him in the league. 0.99 expected goals from limited time, 6 shots on target inside the box, 19 touches in the opposition box, 44 passes at 70% completion. Those are telling numbers in just 149 minutes. They point to a forward who's doing the hard part first, getting into the danger zone again. The box touches and on-target shots inside the area are especially important after an ACL because they speak to physical confidence, arriving at speed, setting your body, finishing through pressure, trusting that knee when it matters most. Then came the first real headline moment, Aston Villa on December 30th, 2025. Arsenal didn't just beat Villa, they absolutely thrashed a top opponent 4-1, and the match reports highlight Jesus coming off the bench to add the 4th after a flowing move. In one of the season's most emphatic league wins, he was part of the exclamation mark. That goal matters for 2 reasons. It ends the "will he ever score again" noise that follows every player back from a serious injury. And it sends the sharper message. He can still arrive in the box, still finish cleanly, still strike before a defense has time to reset. Then he walked into the San Siro and made the comeback global. If Villa was the domestic statement, Inter away on January 20th, 2026 was the European one. Arsenal won 3-1 at the San Siro and Jesus scored twice, calling it a dream night. He spoke emotionally about playing and scoring in a stadium and league he watched growing up in Brazil, and he described the lesson of the injury period as something that fundamentally reshaped him as both a player and a person. But Arteta's response is the most important line in all of this. We have been missing Gabby a lot. That isn't nostalgia, that's tactical reality. Arteta is saying Arsenal's attack has lacked a certain profile, and Jesus restores it. This is where the entire narrative becomes defensible. Because unstoppable here doesn't mean he's scoring every single week. It means he's back in the box. He's finishing chances again. He's giving Arsenal a forward profile that changes how they attack, and how opponents have to defend them. And he's doing all of this while still being reintroduced, not fully unleashed. Here's the part casual analysis often misses. Arsenal don't only need goals from their striker, they need an attacker who makes the entire front line more functional, more fluid, more dangerous. Jesus does that through 3 specific things. First, he restores Arsenal's ability to attack in combinations, not just patterns. When he drops deep, connects with midfield and spins into space, defenders can't just hold a line and wait. They have to make decisions, follow him, pass him onto a teammate, step out and leave space behind, because he's comfortable receiving under pressure and bouncing play forward immediately. Second, he improves the quality of Arsenal's pressing from the front. Even in short bursts of minutes, his value is visible in how he triggers pressure. The sprint to the centre-back, the angle that blocks the pass into midfield, the second movement to hunt the loose ball. This is part of why Arteta trusts him late in tight games. He can help Arsenal defend from the front line. Third, he gives Arsenal a different game state striker. With Viktor Gyökeres and Kai Havertz in the mix, Arsenal can choose profiles based on the opponent and the moment in the match. But Jesus' edge is that he can play in chaos and organise chaos at the same time. Create it with his pressing, then punish it with instinctive box movement. Inter was the perfect advertisement of that balance. And that's how the comeback becomes more than just a feel-good story. It becomes a selection problem for Arteta. A good one, because now Arsenal don't just have a striker. They have a forward whose return changes the ceiling of their entire attack, especially in Champions League level games where margins are razor thin and actions in the box decide entire ties. And that's exactly why what comes next matters so much. Mikel Arteta's Arsenal isn't built around one superstar doing everything. It's built around structure, repeatable patterns that create the same advantages again and again. Control of the centre, clean progression into the final third, and immediate pressure the moment possession is lost. That system has made Arsenal ruthless, but it also creates a specific demand on the striker. Not just score, not just run in behind. In Arteta's model, the number 9 is often the connector, the first defender, and the final touch, sometimes all in the same phase of play, and that's exactly why Gabriel Jesus fits this structure so naturally. Analysts who study Arsenal's tactical setup describe their 2025/26 shape as fluid, 4-3-3 and 4-2-3-1 on paper, often flipping as they move from build-up to the final third. In possession, Arsenal frequently create a 3-man base at the back with 2 midfielders screening, and then fill the front line with 5 attackers, the classic modern overload shape. The purpose of that structure is simple: pin the opponent's backline with width and depth, create central overloads to progress through the middle, keep the defensive structure stable so Arsenal can counter-press instantly if the move breaks down. But here's the key. In that setup, the striker isn't just a passenger. He becomes the hinge between Arsenal's possession platform and their final actions. If the striker can't connect play, if he can't receive under pressure, bounce passes back, drag centre-backs out of position, and create a passing wall, Arsenal's wingers get isolated and the whole attack becomes predictable and easy to defend. That's why Jesus matters so much. Watch Arsenal at their best, and you'll see 3 striker jobs repeating constantly. First, linking play to unlock the wingers. Arsenal's wide threats, especially Bukayo Saka, often receive the ball with the opponent's fullback tight on them and a covering midfielder lurking behind. The striker's movement determines whether that becomes a dead end or a platform to attack from. Jesus' habit of dropping into the half space or that central pocket gives Arsenal the crucial third-man option. Pass into him, get it bounced back out, then break the defensive line with the next pass. Second, disrupting the centre-backs. Arteta's best attacking phases include a striker who won't let centre-backs stand still and get comfortable. Jesus constantly changes the reference points, drops short, then spins, drifts wide, then darts inside. When centre-backs lose their reference points and don't know where he is, gaps open up for runners from midfield and wide areas. Third, pressing leadership. Out of possession, Arsenal often defend in a coordinated 4-4-2 press, with the front line initiating the pressure and blocking central lanes to force play wide, where the traps are already set. That press needs a striker who understands angles, not just effort. Jesus has always been that player. He presses to cut off the pass you actually want to make, not just to close down and make it look like he's working hard. This is why a returning Jesus can strengthen Arsenal even before he's fully back to 90-minute fitness. His value isn't only in shots and goals, he improves the functioning of the entire structure around him. Even in limited league minutes, Jesus' Premier League profile this season shows the shape of his contribution. 1 league goal, 0.48 expected goals, 5 shots on target inside the box, 17 touches in the opposition box, and 36 passes at 69% completion. Those touches in the box and shots on target inside the box matter because they're the hardest actions to recover after an ACL. Arriving at speed, absorbing contact, setting your body quickly, finishing under pressure, those are the moments that test whether the knee is truly back. Arsenal aren't using him as a touchline forward or a decoy. He's getting back into the most valuable real estate on the pitch. And when Arsenal have used him in bigger games, the output has matched exactly what they need from that position. The 3-1 win at Inter on January 20th, 2026 is the clearest case study of why Jesus fits Arteta's structure, because it shows multiple qualities in one night. His first goal came from penalty box instinct and second ball hunger. In structured possession teams, shots often break down into chaos, blocked efforts, rebounds, ricochets bouncing around the box. The striker who reacts quickest turns structure into goals. Analysts noted Jesus reacting fastest to a loose ball in the box to put Arsenal ahead early. That's not just a poacher's moment, it's a system moment. Arsenal's build-up reached the box, the shot got messy, and the striker finished the chaos before the defense could reorganize. His second goal came from a set-piece scramble. Arsenal are widely recognized as one of the Premier League's most dangerous set-piece teams, and that's not accidental. It's part of the design of Arteta's chance creation. Jesus was alive to the second phase and finished from close range when the ball broke loose. Again, this isn't random. It's Arsenal's identity. Pressure, delivery, second balls, repeat attacks, rewarded by a striker with elite alertness in those moments. And this is what makes the return version feel different. He isn't just scoring random goals. He's scoring in the exact moments Arteta's structure is built to manufacture. Second phases, box chaos, set-piece pressure, and immediate punishment when the opponent's defensive line loses its shape. This is the part casual narratives miss completely. When Jesus plays, Arsenal's attack improves in ways that don't always show up as goals credited to him. He improves the quality of Saka's final third situations. Saka is at his most dangerous when he's not forced to beat two players from a standstill. Jesus' movement gives Saka better conditions to work with, bounce passes, better overlap timing, and space to step inside onto his stronger foot. He turns Arsenal's possession into possession with threat. Some strikers help you keep the ball. Jesus helps you keep the ball closer to goal because he's willing to receive between the defensive lines, roll defenders with his back to goal, and take touches that invite pressure before releasing into dangerous space. He raises Arsenal's counter-pressing ceiling. Because Arsenal structure themselves with a solid base behind the ball the moment they lose possession, they want to win it back immediately. This is where Jesus' instincts matter most. He's aggressive in the first 2 seconds after turnover. The exact window modern pressing is built around. After Inter, the conversation turned into a genuine striker dilemma because Arsenal now have different profiles to choose from. Analysts emphasize the tactical battle between Jesus and Viktor Gyökeres, framing Jesus' Champions League output as a major factor in the discussion going forward. And that's the tactical fork in the road Arteta faces. If you want direct running, aerial presence, and penalty box occupation, you lean one way. If you want connection, pressing leadership, and chaotic box instincts, Jesus gives you that profile. Arteta's best Arsenal has always been built on the second profile because it makes the whole machine work better. Look at the Villa goal as proof of concept. Analysts describe Jesus finishing a sweeping move to cap Arsenal's 4-1 demolition of Aston Villa. Another example of a striker completing, not interrupting, Arsenal's patterns of play. That's the key thread across all his return moments. He's not scoring in isolation, pulling rabbits out of hats, or doing things that go against how the team plays. He's scoring at the end of Arsenal sequences that start with structure and end with ruthlessness. That's why his return isn't just emotional, it's tactical, and it could be the difference Arsenal need in the months ahead. Arteta's best teams don't operate like you start because you're the number 9. They operate like you start because the match demands your profile and you earn it again next week. That philosophy was on full display at the San Siro. Arsenal made 7 changes and still beat Inter 3-1, with Jesus scoring twice and Gyökeres coming off the bench to finish the night with a goal of his own. That's the point. Arsenal can now win big matches while rotating their centre forward, and that's the foundation of sustained dominance across both the Premier League and Europe. Gyökeres arrived with a massive reputation and massive expectations. Analysts reported Arsenal signed him from Sporting for £64 million and highlighted how scrutiny followed when goals slowed, before he answered it with a brace that ended a drought in a Champions League win over Atletico Madrid. That arc matters because it tells you the truth about strikers at elite clubs. The pressure doesn't disappear. It either breaks your confidence or upgrades your habits. Now layer Jesus' return on top of that. Instead of Gyökeres being the automatic starter through every patch of form, he now has to compete with a forward who's already trusted by the manager, already fluent in Arsenal's structure, and freshly motivated after 11 months out. This isn't negative pressure, it's performance pressure, the kind that creates sharper, better strikers. As of late January 2026, Gyökeres' league output shows contribution, but also explains why the debate exists. In the Premier League, he's played 20 matches with 5 goals and 0 assists. In Europe, he's provided tangible returns, 5 Champions League matches, 3 goals and 1 assist. So this isn't a story of Gyökeres can't play, it's a story of Arsenal can now choose the best striker for the problem in front of them, and that choice forces Gyökeres to refine the parts of his game that actually decide titles. Viktor Gyökeres is the vertical striker who stretches defensive lines and punishes space. He gives Arsenal a different threat entirely. More direct running in behind, more penalty box occupation, a stronger whole defender's presence when Arsenal want to keep the backline pinned deep. And crucially, he showed at Inter that even when the spotlight shifts to Jesus, he can still impact the game as a substitute, coming on and scoring to complete a major away win. That matters for squad dominance. You can't win the Premier League and go deep in Europe with one striker profile. The schedule doesn't allow it, and opponents adapt too quickly. This is where Jesus returning becomes more than a feel-good story. It actively expands Arsenal's tactical menu. Arsenal can now tailor the striker to the opponent's defensive plan. Against deeper blocks, Jesus' short movement, combination play and box instincts can raise the quality of chances created. Against high lines or transition-heavy games, Gyökeres' vertical threat can punish space and stretch the pitch vertically. Arsenal can rotate without dropping their level. The Inter win is the clearest evidence. Heavy rotation, same control, same ruthlessness and goals from both centre-forwards across 90 minutes. Arsenal can maintain intensity across competitions. The real killer in title races isn't talent, it's fatigue. When your striker is running on fumes in February, your press drops, your distances widen, and your wingers get isolated and ineffective. Two striker profiles, both capable of scoring and impacting major matches, protects Arsenal from that predictable collapse. If Arsenal want to win the league while going deep in the Champions League, they need three things. A sustainable scoring threat that doesn't collapse when one player dips in form. A pressing structure that holds up across 60-plus matches, and rotation that preserves intensity without sacrificing results. This isn't just a feel-good return story, it's a structural shift. Gabriel Jesus hasn't come back to chase minutes or reclaim a name. He's come back and immediately made Arsenal more dangerous, tactically, psychologically, and competitively. His movement sharpens the press. His link play reconnects the attack. His presence raises the level of everyone around him. For Mikel Arteta, that's the difference between surviving a long season and controlling it. Rotation without regression. Competition without chaos. Options without compromise. After an 11-month injury nightmare, Jesus isn't just back on the pitch. He's back at the heart of Arsenal's identity. And if this is the foundation he's laying now, with minutes still managed and rhythm still building, then the warning signs are clear. For the Premier League, for Europe, for anyone standing in Arsenal's way. This comeback isn't the end of the story. It's the beginning of Arsenal's most dangerous phase.